It's Lauren taking care of your money. If you're ready to travel again, hopefully you have a big budget. The cost of travel is soaring right now as demand picks up, with hotel rooms costing about 44% more compared to last year and airfare up 24%. The most drastic price hike, though, is rental cars, with prices up 110% from last year. Costco's ending its special shopping hours. For the last 16 months, the first hour of every weekday was reserved for seniors, healthcare workers, and first responders to shop. That will end July 26th when the chain returns to pre-pandemic hours. How does a 4-day work week sound? Researchers in Iceland found that the shortened work week without a pay cut improved workers' well-being and productivity. The 4-year study found that workers went from being stressed and burned out to having a healthier work-life balance.